Hey guys, it's Miss Allen, and I'm going to take you through the notes today for observation and inference. So, first thing you need to do is get in your handouts packet and find the page that looks just like this. It is going to go in your notebook, and check with your teacher to see what your assignment number is going to be, or how you put it in your notebook. Okay. So we're going to go through observation and inferences. I'm going to give you some examples, and then we're going to do a little activity before you do your practice on your own, okay? So here we go. So first, observations are using one or more of your five senses: hearing, touch, smell, taste, or vision to gather information. So these things are facts. So we can see that the sky is blue, so that's a fact. We know that it's true. You can smell the chocolate chip cookies cooking in the oven, so you know that they're there. I can hear someone scream, okay? Those are all observations that we know are happening or have happened because we can sense them with our five senses. Now, we don't always know what's happening, even though we observe something or what has happened. So that's where inferences come into play. So these are drawing a conclusion or offering an explanation about your observation. So this may not be true, right? So if I look outside and I see that the ground is wet, then I can say, oh, it rained. But in fact, that may not be it. If it's in the morning, it may be dew on the ground. It could be that the sprinklers were on. It could be that somebody had a kiddie pool outside full of water and they dumped it out, all right? So we don't know why the ground's wet, but I can just assume that the ground is wet because it rained, which is an inference. So if I didn't see it rain, I didn't hear it rain, that's just what I have to infer, okay? So for an example, our observation is that a car has stopped running. So we see a car stopped on the side of the road. And you're going to make inferences about that. So why is that car not going? All right, so I'll give you a couple seconds to think about that, and then we'll talk. Okay, so maybe the car ran out of gas, or maybe the engine exploded, or maybe they have a flat tire. I guess it doesn't say that it's on the side of the road. It could be in the middle of the road. It could have been in an accident. Maybe there's a pregnant woman inside and they had to stop to deliver the baby. There are lots of different things, right? And we don't know why the car is stopped, but we can make an inference about it, all right? So this is called mystery footprint. So it's at the very bottom of your paper. So you will be asked to view a series of 3 images, and you are going to record observations and inferences for each image. Now, it's harder to share our observations right now, right? Because we're just watching a video, so that's not as big of a deal. But if we were in class, you wouldn't want to share because you might influence somebody else, okay? So here we go. Here's your first image. So on your paper, you're going to write down 3 observations, and you're going to write down 1 inference. So go ahead. I'm going to have you pause the video and write those down. And then when you're ready, you can start it back up again, and you will see the next picture. All right? But don't jump ahead because you want to do it in order. It makes it more fun, I promise. All right, image 2. For this one, you want to record 2 observations and 1 inference. Okay? And make sure that you're doing observation, so things that you see, because you can't taste, you can't smell, you can't hear, you can't touch this picture, you can only see. So you have to use your observations, they have to be concrete. Last image. I'm going to take my webcam away for a second so you can see this last image. So you're going to record 1 observation and make 1 inference for this last image. All right, now we're going to do these discussion questions, but you don't have to write these down, obviously. I just want you to be thinking about these. All right, so what event happened to cause those tracks? All right, so I know we're not in class, but what could be some similarities and differences for these observations? Do you think maybe some people thought that these little animals or these organisms were in a fight? Did one die? Did one carry the other one away? Did one sit down and didn't move? Did one fly away? Maybe those could be some differences. Some of our similarities probably the same. Some of us probably have the same thoughts. Most of the time, people in my classes think that they got in a fight and one of them died. But I like to be on a happier note and think that the other one jumped on the other one's back and took a ride around. Okay. So why do you think it's important to not share these observations and inferences right away? Right, because we can influence other people's thoughts. They may have a completely different story in their head, so we don't want to share our ideas with them right away because it will completely change their ideas. And can we know with 100% certainty how these footprints were formed? No, we can't. We can't know 100% how these were formed, but that's why we make inferences, right? So that's kind of our observation and inference information for today. So I just want to reiterate that observations are absolutely true, right? We can see them, we can hear them, we can touch them, we can taste them. But our inferences are going to be different from one another probably, and that's just trying to explain why things happen. And this happens a lot in science, right? We will get data that we have collected from our research and from our experiments, and then we have to try to explain why we think it happened. Sometimes we know why it happened. Maybe we messed up something, or maybe we did something, that caused something to happen, so we know what happened. But a lot of times we don't. So we have to explain why we think it happens. And that's how we get a lot of new discoveries, right? Because then we can retest it again and see if that same thing happens, or change something in the experiment to make it prove that that's what caused the issues or caused what we needed to know, okay? So that's why it's important for us to learn about observation and inference. So now it's your time to go do your practice for observation and inference. So go ahead and get that done, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.